Chapter 3. Next morning, Anna Harland went to the court. She was first there. She sat in the courtroom and waited. A lot of people came in, and she saw a man and his wife. Perhaps they're Hassan's father and mother, Anna thought. But she did not want to talk to them. The lawyers came in next, with a lot of papers. They sat at a table in front of her and talked quietly. Those two lawyers, Anna thought. They're old friends. But one of them wants my daughter to die, and one wants her to be free. After the lawyers, the jury came in. 12 people, men and women. They sat down and watched the lawyers. They looked at Anna and then talked quietly about her. These people don't look very important, she thought. But they are the most important people here. They're going to say, she did it, or she didn't do it. And then Sarah comes home to me, or she dies. She watched their faces carefully. Then some policemen came in. Inspector Aziz saw Anna and smiled at her. But Anna did not talk to him, because Sarah came in at the same time. She looked afraid, and her face was very white. She looked across the courtroom, saw her mother, and gave her an unhappy smile. There were 2 policemen behind Sarah, but Anna did not look at them. She looked at the tall, dark young man next to Sarah, Hassan. He's about 20 years old, Anna thought. He's very tall. But he has a nice face and very beautiful dark eyes. Sarah likes him, and I can understand that. But he looks very unhappy too, and afraid. His hands are moving all the time. Hassan looked at Sarah and smiled. She smiled back at him. Anna wanted to talk to Sarah, but just then a policeman said loudly,
"All stand, please."
Everybody stood up, and the judge came into the courtroom. He went to his chair and sat down. The police lawyer began.
These 2 young people came into our country last week,
he said.
The young man lives in this country, and the young woman is English. At the airport, the police looked in their bags, and they found 3 tubes of toothpaste. These tubes of toothpaste.
He had the 3 tubes in his hand, and he looked at them. Everybody could see them.
But are they tubes of toothpaste?
He asked.
No, men and women of the jury, they are not. Oh, no. There is no toothpaste in these tubes. There is heroin in them. Yes, heroin. A bad, dirty drug. Perhaps the worst drug. People die from this drug. The White Death, they call it.
The lawyer stopped and looked at the jury. He waited for a minute or two. The courtroom was very quiet. Then he began again.
But why, you ask me? Why did these 2 young people have this heroin in their bags? I can't tell you. Because heroin is one of the most expensive drugs, too. They can sell these tubes of heroin in our country for perhaps £80,000. £80,000. Easy money. And men and women of the jury, many people in our country, young people, school children too, take this drug. At first, it's exciting, and they feel happy. But then, they need more and more heroin. And they need more money to buy the drug. They leave their homes and families. They take more heroin. And more. They can't stop. Soon, the drug begins to kill them. And in the end, they die. The White Death. It's not a quick death. And it's not an easy death. Yes, men and women of the jury, many young people and children, your children and my children, remember, die because of this drug.
The lawyer stopped again. The jury watched him and waited. He's very good, Anna thought. Very, very good. He's telling the jury an exciting story, and they like him. But it isn't good for Sarah. The lawyer walked across the courtroom and stood in front of the jury.
But, my friends,
he said to the jury,
we have a law in this country, and the law is not difficult to understand. When people bring heroin into this country, they bring death too. We need to stop these people. And how can we do that? The answer is easy. The law for these people is death.
The lawyer walked back to his table.
Now, please look at these 2 young people here in this court, he said to the jury. They brought heroin into this country. The airport police are going to tell you about it. Please listen carefully. It's not a long story. And remember, The law is death.
The police lawyer sat down, and an airport policeman went to the front of the courtroom. Anna felt ill. She looked at Sarah. Sarah was white-faced and very afraid. Anna closed her eyes. Sarah, she thought. Oh, Sarah. The police lawyer stood up again.
Please tell the court about Sarah Harland and Hassan,
he said to the airport policeman.
Yes, sir,
said the policeman.
I found 2 tubes of toothpaste in the girl's bag and 1 tube in the young man's bag. All 3 tubes had heroin in them. Thank you.
The police lawyer sat down, and Mr. Cheng, Sarah's and Hassan's lawyer, stood up. What did Sarah Harland say when you found the heroin? He asked.
Nothing, sir. She began to cry.
I see. Was she afraid? The policeman thought for a minute.
I don't know, sir. Perhaps she was, yes.
And she said nothing? Are you sure? The policeman thought again.
Well, yes, sir. I think perhaps she said, "This isn't my toothpaste. This is all wrong."
I see. And what about the young man, Hassan? What did he say?
Well, sir, he was very angry. He said, "It's not heroin. That's not true. You put it there."
I see. Thank you. Now tell me, why did you look in these 2 young people's bags? You don't usually look in everyone's bags. There isn't time. The policeman thought again.
Well, no, sir, we don't. I'm afraid I can't tell you, sir.
What did you say? Mr. Cheng asked very angrily.
Of course you can tell me. This is a court of law.
He looked at the judge. This is a very important question. We need an answer. The judge looked at the airport policeman.
I'm sorry, he said. Please answer the question. The court needs to know the answer.
Yes, sir.
Well, you see, there was a telephone call. Someone telephoned me before the plane arrived. The telephone caller said, "There's some heroin on the plane. A young man and a young woman are carrying it."
I see, Mr. Cheng said. He smiled. That's very interesting. And who made this telephone call?
I don't know,
the policeman said.
It was a man, and he talked in English. I don't know his name.
Suddenly, Anna heard a noise. She looked behind her at the door of the courtroom. A tall young man came into the back of the room. Anna knew him at once. It was Stephen, Sarah's old boyfriend. A policeman took him to a chair near Anna. He saw Anna, and for a second he looked afraid. But then he smiled and sat down next to her. "Mrs. Harland," he said quietly, "it's good to see you. When did you arrive?" "Yesterday," she said. "Why are you late?" "I couldn't find the court," he answered. He looked very unhappy. "Tell me how to help," he said. "I want to help Sarah, but what can I do? I was on the plane too, but I couldn't help her. I don't want her to die." "Stay with me, young man," Anna said quietly. "We can help her. I'm sure we can." Later that morning, Sarah went to the front of the courtroom. Her face was very white, and her eyes were red with crying. Her lawyer, Mr. Cheng, began to ask her questions. "Now, Miss Harland, why did you come to this country?" he asked quietly, and smiled at her. "Because I like going to different countries. I want to meet new people." "And why were you with this young man?" "Because—" Sarah stopped and looked down at her feet. Nobody could see her face. She began again, very quietly, but nobody could hear her. "I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Can you say that again, please?" Sarah looked up. She looked quickly at her mother, and then at Hassan. "Because I love him." Anna felt old and tired. She looked at the tall young man with the beautiful dark eyes. It was his heroin, she thought. I'm sure it was. He buys and sells heroin, and he put it in my daughter's bag. And now she says she loves him. Stephen sat next to her. He did not move, and he watched Sarah all the time. But she did not look at him. Mr. Cheng waited a minute, and then he questioned Sarah again. "Did you know about the heroin in those tubes of toothpaste?" he asked. "No," Sarah said quickly. "Of course I didn't." "And what about Hassan? Did he know about the heroin?" "Please think about your answer." "No, I'm sure he didn't know. It wasn't our heroin." Sarah's blue eyes were angry. "We didn't put the heroin in the toothpaste tubes. We're innocent." "Thank you, Miss Harland," Mr. Cheng said quietly, and sat down. The police lawyer stood up.
Miss Harland, how much money did you have in your bag?
About £50, I think.
That's not very much. This is an expensive country, you know. How much can you buy with your £50?
Sarah did not have an answer. I don't know, she began. I usually live very cheaply.
Did you need more money?
The lawyer's questions came quickly now.
Of course you needed more money. You wanted to sell that heroin. You wanted to be rich. Is that right?
No, that's not true. The lawyer said nothing for a minute. He looked at the jury and smiled. Then he said,
Do you think toothpaste is very expensive in this country, Miss Harland?
No. I don't think... I don't know.
Well, I can tell you, it isn't. Toothpaste is cheap here. So why did you bring 3 tubes of toothpaste with you? How often do you clean your teeth, Miss Harland? 6 times a day? Or 7? Or 8 times a day, perhaps?
Sarah looked very unhappy. No, I don't know. Hassan...
Yes?
The lawyer said quickly.
Hassan. Are you going to say, Hassan gave it to me? You love this young man, but you don't want to die. Nobody wants to die. And now you're going to say, it was Hassan's toothpaste. Is that your answer, Miss Harland?
No, Sarah said angrily. Of course not. It was my toothpaste, but...
Thank you, Miss Harland.
The police lawyer sat down.
I have no more questions.
End of side 1. Side 2. Chapter 4. At 1 o'clock, the judge left the court for an hour. Anna Harland talked to Sarah for 10 minutes. Sarah cried at first. I don't like that police lawyer, she said. Those questions were very difficult. I couldn't answer them. It doesn't matter, her mother said. Your lawyer, Mr. Cheng, is very good. And Stephen is here too now. We're all going to help you. Sarah was angry. Don't talk to me about Stephen, she said. I don't like him. I don't want to see him here. But Sarah, he was your boyfriend for 2 years. He wants to help you. Sarah began to cry again. Perhaps he does want to help me. I don't know. But he's different now, Mother. You don't understand. His eyes are different. They're... I don't know. And he can't sit quietly and talk to people now. His body is moving all the time. He came to see me in our hotel the night before we came to this country, and I didn't like him, Mother. Why is he here? He doesn't love me now. And I don't love him. Anna listened carefully to her daughter, and then she went to see Mr. Cheng and Inspector Aziz. Stephen went with her. "Who made that phone call to the police at the airport?" she asked. "We need to know that." "Yes," Mr. Cheng said. "That's very important. Can the police tell us?" "Perhaps," the inspector said. "But it's very difficult. It was not a long telephone call. And the man didn't give his name. Perhaps he was a policeman, and he knew about the heroin." "Perhaps," Mr. Cheng said. "But then, perhaps he put the heroin there, and he wanted the police to find it. Perhaps someone doesn't like your daughter, Mrs. Harland." "I don't know," Anna said slowly. "But perhaps—" But then the judge came back into the courtroom, and everybody stopped talking. The judge then called Hassan. Hassan stood up and went to the front of the courtroom. "He's a rich boy," Anna thought. "That shirt and those shoes are very expensive." Hassan stood there, tall and very quiet. He waited for the questions. He did not look afraid. But when Mr. Cheng looked at his papers and asked the first question, Hassan closed his eyes. "Did you know about the heroin in those tubes of toothpaste?" "No, sir." "Did Sarah know?" "No, sir." "Who bought the toothpaste?" Hassan closed his eyes again for 2 or 3 seconds. Then he answered, "I did, sir." "You did? You're sure of that?" "Yes, sir. I'm sure. I clean my teeth a lot, you see." Hassan smiled for a moment. "Well, he does have very white teeth," Anna thought. "Sarah," Hassan began. Then he stopped. "Yes." Again Hassan closed his eyes and waited for a second. Then he looked at the jury and said very loudly, "Sarah did not buy the toothpaste. I bought it. I bought all 3 tubes of toothpaste. It was my toothpaste." Anna sat up in her chair and looked carefully at Hassan. "That's interesting," she thought. "Perhaps he does love Sarah." "I see," Mr. Cheng said. "And when did you first meet Sarah Harland?" "About 2 months ago. I was in Australia. We were in the same hotel. She had a difficult time with her boyfriend, and I helped her." Anna looked at Stephen. He was very angry, and he hit the chair in front of him with his hand. "I see," Mr. Cheng said again. Then he asked his next question. "Do you usually carry a lot of money? How much money did you have at the airport?" "About £80, I think." "That's okay. When I need more money, I get some work for a week or two. We don't need much money. And do you sometimes take heroin? No, sir. Never. Thank you. Stay there, please. Mr. Cheng sat down, and the police lawyer stood up. He smiled at Hassan, but it was not a nice smile.
Now, Hassan, you bought the toothpaste, but it was in Miss Harlan's bag. Why? Why did she carry it for you? Or do you always ask your women to carry things for you?
He smiled. Hassan said nothing. The lawyer began again.
You had £80, you say. But £80,000 is better than £80, I think. What do you think?
Of course it is. But I don't sell heroin. It's wrong to sell heroin. The lawyer moved his papers on the table. He looked at the jury.
So, you are a very good young man with very clean teeth, but no money. You met a young English girl. She was unhappy with her boyfriend, so you helped her and took her away with you. Is that right? Oh dear, it's not a very good story, you know. I don't believe it, and I don't think the jury believes it, young man.
He stopped for a minute. Then he looked at Hassan and said loudly,
You don't love Sarah Harland, and she doesn't love you. You went with her because she could help you, and she went with you because she wanted the money. She carried the heroin for you to sell. That's right, isn't it? You put the heroin in the toothpaste tubes, and she knew about it. Is that the true story, young man?
I think it is. No, Hassan began angrily. But the lawyer did not listen. He sat down.
I have no more questions,
he said to the judge.